Welcome to part 2 of my project series. In my first video, I talked about the massive transformation happening in Tengah. Now, let's zoom into a new launch within this transformation story. This site was jointly secured by Hong Leong's Holdings, Guaco Land and CSE Land in 2025 at an attractive land price of 821 PSF PPR. And I dare to say, compared to the recent launches, this is easily one of the lowest land bids we have seen so far. So, why does a low land bid actually matter? First, better entry price for buyers. Developers have more room to price units competitively, which means you're not coming in at an inflated benchmark. Second, higher potential upside. When you enter at a lower base, your margin for future appreciation increases, especially with all the transformation happening around Tengah. Third, stronger risk buffer. In uncertain markets, projects with lower land costs tend to have more flexibility, making them more resilient compared to those launched at peak prices. So let's dive deeper into the characteristics of this project. Now, this project boasts 9 blocks of 16-story towers with a total of 863 units, where residential units start from level 2. We're looking at a good mix of 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms units, with car provision at about 60% coverage. Now, this is actually quite understandable because Tengah is designed as a car-light town, and more importantly, with direct connectivity to the upcoming Hongkar MRT station on the Jurong Region line, I would say that the car park usage may gradually become underutilized over time. Another thing to note, in line with the car-light concept, there are also 216 bicycle lots provided for residents. Besides that, the development includes commercial spaces at level 1, which could house restaurants, cafes, retail shops, offering everyday convenience right at your doorstep. There are even commercial parking lots within the basement, which is actually a strong plus point. Why? Because with the MRT connection and commercial components, it helps to create consistent human traffic, boosting the vibrancy and long-term perceived demand of the area. And here's something very important. The development is directly connected to Hongkar MRT via a link bridge at level 2. It's almost safe to say this MRT station feels like it's exclusively serving this development. In terms of the facilities, let me highlight some of the more interesting ones. You're not just looking at a single pool, but multiple pool zones, with main swimming pool that acts as a centerpiece of the development, complemented by an aqua fitness pool and a dedicated children's aqua play pool, so it caters well to both families and active lifestyles. What's also quite unique is the inclusion of 2 separate courts. One is a full-fledged tennis court that can double up as a pickleball court, and the other is an entirely dedicated paddleball court. So having a dedicated court like this is quite a rare feature in most developments. On top of that, there are a total of 7 function rooms, 3 at the main clubhouse, 1 at the kids clubhouse, and another 3 at the sky clubs located at the top of the selected blocks. But what I really like here is that they created a dedicated kids clubhouse that looks like a mushroom, which shows the development is thoughtfully designed with families in mind rather than treating it as an add-on. Let's move on to the units type. From the distribution, we can see the development is largely made up of 3 bedrooms units, followed by 2 bedrooms units. Now, if you look at the broader Tengah area, most of the nearby private developments are executive condos, which typically starts from the 3 bedrooms configuration. So naturally, there is very limited supply of smaller private units in this area. What this project is doing differently is introducing a meaningful numbers of 2 bedrooms units that effectively fills the gap in the market. From an investment standpoint, this creates a more accessible entry price point, which tends to attract a wider tenant pool. And for HDB upgraders, especially those coming from 2 or 3 room flats, it provides a more comfortable step into private property without over-exerting financially. So rather than just looking at the unit mix in isolation, what's important here is how it positions the development within the wider market. You're tapping into demand that's currently undersupplied while still anchoring the project with a strong base of family-sized units. But we have to look into the floor plans too. Next up is the floor plans. Starting with the 1-bedroom units, honestly, nothing much to analyze here because there are only 6 units in total. This will definitely be snapped up very fast. And realistically, if you manage to get one, I think you must have done a lot of good deeds in your past life to get the kind of good ballot number. Just to note, all 6 units are located on the lower level, which is the level 2 ground floor. So they enjoy immediate access to the facilities, which is a nice plus. Now, moving on to the 2 bedrooms units. This is actually quite straightforward. There are 3 variations. The 2-bed 1 bath, the 2-bed 2 bath, both in the 600 plus square feet range, and the 2 plus study at 753 square feet, which is also the show flat unit. These layouts are generally quite similar, so for most buyers, it really boils down to the budget and how much space you want. One thing I personally like is the way the kitchen is tucked away. Instead of being along the corridor, it just makes the living space feels cleaner and more practical. Now let's move into the 3-bedroom units where there are more variation, but I'll break it down simply for you. The first group is the 800 plus square feet series, and these are mainly corner units. The advantage here is that the bathrooms are naturally ventilated, which is something many buyers look out for. The smallest type within this category has a dumbbell layout, but it's also the only one without a kitchen window. Overall, the layouts are quite efficient and squarish with minimal wasted space. Next, we have the 3-bedroom restore, and this is quite special because there's actually only one layout of this type in the entire project. Its size in the 900 plus square feet range comes with a larger kitchen, and the store can be used either for storage or even a small study area. Next up, we have the 3-bedroom premium, ranging from about 900 plus to 1033 square feet. This comes with more complete features including a yard area, additional WC, and a household shelter, making them more ideal for family living. The show flat is based on the largest unit in this category, so it gives a good sense of the overall layout and how comfortable the space feels. The main difference across this unit usually comes down to the kitchen layout, yard size, entrance space, and the master bedroom with the wardrobe area. Finally, we have the largest unit types, the 4 bedrooms and the 4 bedrooms premium. The standard 4 bedrooms units are in the range of 1,100 plus square feet, while the premium ones go up to about 1,002 plus square feet. The key difference is that for the premium units, all bedrooms are ensuite, with bedroom 2 and 3 sharing a Jack and Jill bathroom. Across both types, you're getting a good-sized master bedrooms with walk-in wardrobe, plus a proper yard area and household shelter for additional storage. Finally, let's look into the facings of these developments. From the master plan, you can see that a Tengah pond is carved out to create a waterfront element. Now this is always a desirable feature. Typically, waterfront-facing units enjoy more open views, better ventilation, and a stronger sense of exclusivity, which naturally supports pricing. So within this project, there are a few key facings to take note of. The most premium would be the waterfront facing. Stacks mainly the 4 bedrooms premium, which are stack 45, 50, and 51, along with one stack of 4 bedroom, stack 44. Interestingly, you also have a 2-bed, 1-bath in stack 43 that enjoys both internal pool facing and waterfront facing, which is quite a rare combination for a smaller unit. Next, we have the internal facing stacks, which I would say are the next tier of premium. The majority of the units fall into this category, and they benefit from a comfortable distance of about 24 to 29 meters blocks to block. So you still get a good sense of openness without feeling too close to your neighbors. Another facing to consider would be those along Tengah Garden Avenue. Personally, this is one of my preferred options, mainly because the distance to the future Tengah General Hospital is actually much further. So you will get a more open outlook. Pricing wise, I would expect this to be relatively attractive. And honestly, newer hospitals today are very well designed, sometimes even better looking than the residential developments. Lastly, we have stacks that are closer to the MRT tracks. Now, these are typically the more attractively priced units, but it's important to note that the distance is still about 18 to 21 meters away. With modern MRT systems today, there are sound mitigation features in place. So unless you are particularly very sensitive, the noise impact may not be as significant as people imagine. So overall, when you look at Tengah Garden Residences as a whole, it is a project worth paying attention to, especially given that it sits right at the early transformation phase of Tengah. Just look at Lentor area. It's a classic example of those who dare to enter when it was at ground zero transformation. From a fundamental standpoint, it takes several key boxes. Lower entry price, direct MRT connectivity, commercial spaces at level 1, strong government-backed infrastructure, and limited supply of private condos. When you combine all these factors together, you are essentially looking at a development that is positioned not just for today, but for future growth as the town matures. I look forward to seeing you in Tengah Garden Residence.